Business Women Australia podcast show, the podcast that brings together industry leaders to discuss the latest trends, insights and strategies. So sit back and relax, let's get inspired by the amazing women who are shaping the future of professional women in Australia. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So welcome. We're kind of doing a take two as my devices have decided to go awry today and yesterday and the day before, but we're here today with my very special guest, Vida Carlino, and we're in her very special space. We're in Inspiration Space in Inglewood, and this is one of the very beautiful first spaces that for me coming in with Business Women Australia that I got to experience with you. And Vida's says her passion and talents lie in holding space, creating soul-stirring, heart-opening and mind-clearing experiences that align our mental, our emotional and intuitive and our spiritual self. And so welcome, Vida.
Thank you, Leanne. It's a pleasure to be here again.
And so we were talking before, and I said one of the things I didn't realise that, you began your career in accounting.
Yeah.
Over 30 years ago, you've been in as a business owner as well.
Yeah.
And Vida is phenomenal at creating a safe space for women. And we have these brilliant, courageous conversations, and you really help break down the barriers, and that helps teach us how to liberate ourselves.
Beautiful.
So welcome today.
You're welcome.
So tell us a little bit just about what inspires you.
Okay. Well, a lot of things inspire me, and a lot of simple things inspire me, like walking barefoot on the grass, sitting in the sunset, being in nature, kids laughing, reading a great book, meditating and getting into that real zone. But for me to be inspired, I think it's all about being able to be congruent with myself. So I have my mental, emotional, intuitive, spiritual, physical intelligences all in alignment. I like to think I'm always like that, but that's not the case. Sometimes my logic is over here and my passion is over here. So my heart's over here and my mind's over there, and there's this constant dance between the two. And when I'm in that state, I'm not going anywhere, and it's not actually a peaceful state. It's quite the opposite. And I always can tell when I'm out of whack, because when I don't have motivation, something's wrong. If I'm in a place of coming from my spirit, being inspired, then I'm in motivation. Motivation is a great informer of where you're at. But if you look, have you ever had the experience when you've gone to a workshop, you've heard a speaker, you've watched a show or read a book, and all of a sudden you're inspired?
Oh, so good to go.
Yeah. You're so inspired, you're so motivated. You may even think, this is it, I've got it down pat this time. I need to notice a few days later it's disappeared. So from my perspective, that is when we get inspired by somebody else's inspiration, which is a good thing. It's a good starter, a good igniter. But it doesn't last. We need to source our inspiration from ourselves. So if you look at the word inspiration, it means in spirit action. So it's taking action from your own spirit.
I love that one so much. So much.
Yeah. So I am most inspired when I am congruent and aligned and accessing the source of my own inspiration.
So, and then how did you get where you are today?
Okay. Well, I think a lot of us get to where we are because something happens and it changes every moment after that. I had a very defining moment and a turning point in my 20s, and I was happily married. I still am. I had 2 kids at the time. We bought our first house, which was super exciting. I was studying accounting, which I never understand why I ever did that.
I cannot see that in you at all.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And life was pretty good. Everything was just amazing.
Oh, my phone needs to be on silent here.
Yeah, everything was amazing. And until I lost my 4-month-old son to SIDS and everything crumbled. And and all that was safe and secure and wonderful disappeared. And I found myself in a really harsh and unforgiving reality. I was riddled with anger and shame at my shortcomings. I felt like it was my fault in some way. And I was constantly reminded by the sad faces of everyone around me, especially when they asked me how I was going. I could see the pity in their eyes, and it was hard to handle. And I wanted to run away and hide. I wanted to scream, but I had no voice at the time. So I think what I did is I squashed everything down and hid my despair. And just hid my despair and created sadness as my companion that kept me company when I was quiet or long nights. And I became I lived in a fog. I lived in a fog. I was surface dwelling. On the outside things looked like, oh, she's coping, she's doing okay. But in the inside, I was dying. I tried self-medicating with self-development type books and tapes. This is way before podcasts and smartphones. And yeah, I could see something in all of that. I saw potential. I did all the exercises and all the practices and stuff, but I wasn't really doing much. And I was still stuck in this harsh, unforgiving mind of mine that was really giving me a hard time and beating myself up all the time. And I don't know how it happened or whatever, but I come across this group doing energy work and circle work, and I thought they were all extremely weird. And I knew nothing about this sort of stuff, nothing. But I did find myself in circle with them, which I still don't understand the transition of how I got there. And I thought they were more weird then. And I actually thought I was getting into a cult or something. That's how weird it was. And I wanted to get up and lead the circle, but my body didn't move. It didn't move. And I think somehow I sensed the safety of the space.
Yeah.
And I was in there for a while, and then it happened. I started to hear this little whisper, and then it got louder, and I heard the voice of my story, and it was really shocking for me when I realised I was the one saying it, because I never said anything before. And in that moment, I realised that I was not the only service dweller. I wasn't alone. There was lots of other people doing it. And I was not the only one that had a companion. Mine was sadness. The other women had different names for their companions. And I realised I was not alone. But something significant happened in that moment. And it gave me permission to really feel my pain. And in doing that, I sort of broke even more, but it was like a cleaning up or freeing in some sort of way that I could pick up the pieces and put myself together after a while. And I'm just so grateful to that circle and to those strangers, because it was through them I found my way back. And I've kind of dedicated myself to creating spaces and opportunities for other people to turn inward and find their way back.
And I think that's just amazing, because we've all gone through surface dwelling, and when we hit a hard spot, we can either sit there and stay in it, but you've chosen not. You've broken through one of the no parent should ever have to go through, and you've used that, and you've really helped other women come out of being surface dwellers themselves. And I've sat in with your courageous conversations, and we don't leave without change, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. we never leave Vida without some kind of change. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So what do you think are the main challenges for women today?
Surface dwelling.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Living and being outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Going through the experience of life without fully immersion in them, without genuine engagement in them. Life is busy, and when we prioritize efficiency and task completion over the quality of our experiences, we tend to rush. We rush through life, we multitask, we leave no gaps at all, we fill up all the spaces, and when we do that, we miss out on the enriching experiences, and we miss out on the transformational moments that occur each moment. Even in the most routine of moments, there is magic if we're present with it.
And we love to have this label of, how are you? Oh, I'm so busy.
Yeah, it's just like, it's kind of worn like a badge of honor instead of a plea for help.
Yeah.
Because when we're surface dwelling, we are disconnected to ourselves and our experiences.
And how do you tell people to change from being a surface dweller?
Mindfulness practices. Mindfulness and well-being. And that's just such a broad spectrum. Mindfulness is not meditation. Meditation is a mindfulness practice. Because so often I say mindfulness and people comment meditation. We do not have to be able to sit on the mountain, cross our legs and go on, although that is a beautiful experience. We can talk mindfully. We can walk mindfully. We can eat mindfully.
Mm-hmm.
We can practice breathwork techniques. We can go in nature. We can sing, draw, journal. There are so many ways to bring us into the present moment to be mindful. And mindfulness is all about the awareness that arises when we intentionally place our attention on the moment with an attitude of love and kindness without judgment. Yeah, so if you think about it, it's like we have an intention to be mindful, to place our attention in the moment. So that gives us a scope of what is possible. Then our attention trains our mind to be here, to be in this moment. And our attitude is the way we pay attention. We pay attention with love and kindness without the judgment and criticism. Imagine paying attention and judging yourself the whole time.
Oh, no, thank you.
But the most important part is practice. Because if you think about it, most of us know how to be healthy. Most of us know how to look after our bodies. Most of us know what well-being means. The question is doing it. So without the practice, it's just theory. And not much changes, because the part of you that wants to change comes up against the part of you that doesn't want to change.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that you've practiced the most is the one that's going to win.
Now, and talking about turning theory into practice, I hear you are creating a new course. What is it, and what's your driving force? Tell me.
Okay, so the course is called Liberate Self. And I think it comes from all these years of doing this work. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether it's a retreat or coaching or sacred circles, a workshop, it doesn't matter. I get the same sort of feedback from them. And they say things like, I experience a coming home to myself. I experience a reclaiming of what's most important to myself. I feel clear, confident, inspired. They'll say the same thing. So then I was like, okay, what's the next step? Is to create an online course, which I haven't done before, is to bring all this experience and all this talent and bring it online. So it's 6 modules, which can be done at any pace. There is scheduled interaction times, and it will be launched early April. And if you want to know more about it, you can just look at our website and Inspiration Space website or our social medias. Put a like, or you can opt in and you'll receive all the newsletters about everything that's going on.
Well, I think we'll put this podcast up on the Business Women Australia website, and we'll add the link.
Yeah, great. That'd be
there
awesome.
as well.
That's perfect.
So we're creating with everything you've gone through, you know, you've grown, you've changed, you've come through, you've helped other people grow, change, you've now got this course. With everything, tell me, after it all, what is the best advice you have ever received?
Well, there's lots, but I'd say the one that stands out the most for me is I am 100% responsible for everything I experience. You know, and I've used that many times, and often people have a reaction to it. I know the first time I heard it, I was in Melbourne doing my NLP masters, and I had resistance to it. I was like, that's not my fault, that's not my fault, that's not my fault. But it's not about fault, it's about having the freedom to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you think about how, think about if you're renting a house, you can't paint the ceilings orange, you can't renovate the kitchen, you can't dig up the garden because you don't own it.
Mm-hmm.
You only can change what you own. Now people go through their lives blaming the government, their upbringing, their family, the man down the street,
Yes,
for their problems. And in doing that, they disempower themselves to make any real change. So it's not about the circumstances, it's about taking responsibility for your experience, which is a privilege because the minute you take responsibility, you have the power to change something.
yes,
You have the power to choose how you respond to it. So and it doesn't matter if you believe it's true or not. Acting as if it's true will change your mind.
absolutely. You know, it's that old, if you keep the victim mentality, you'll always be a victim.
Exactly. But the thing is, often when we're in these states of unresourcefulness, we're not even aware we're there.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even aware we're there. So that's something like that. It's creating. That's why I love mindfulness practices so much. And there's so many simple practices you can do. You can just pause, take a moment just to stop, be still, turn your attention inward to your breath, because that's what all it's about. When we're out here surface dwelling, right, the external world is ruling us. We're in our head and not our heart. So rather be working on this intelligence instead of this intelligence. And the funny thing about that is the communication between your heart and your head is continuous, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it mainly comes from the heart to the head. It goes up, not down. The heart communicates with the head a lot more than the head communicates with the heart. But if we're out there surface dwelling, we're missing out on all this intelligence. We're missing out on all this wisdom. So if we can find whatever practice works for you, just pausing, being still for a moment, letting your body calm down, letting your nervous system calm down. Turn your attention inward. A whole new world opens up.
Oh, I love that.
A whole new world.
Love that so much. But, well, when people want to get in touch with you, just to finish off this gorgeous conversation that we've had, how do people reach out to you?
Well, they can reach out through the social media networks, they can reach out through the website, they can reach out through Inspiration Space. Phone number and contact details are there, or they can pop in. We're at Unit 1885 Beaufort Street in Inglewood, just pop in.
And you've also got my VIda out there as well.
Yes, yeah. So Inspiration Space is like our urban sanctuary where we run programs and events, and we also hire the space out that other people can use this beautiful sanctuary to run their events or conscious related events. And my VIda is actually my work, so my coaching programs and retreats and the things I run. But most of them are around here anyway.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's a privilege to be here. Beautiful.
And we'll see everybody else
Thank you.
soon. Bye.